It'll never go away. We're here forever.
Do you remember the first time a comic made you feel seen?
I wish I had a specific memory about like picking up a DC or Marvel comic and being like, oh my god, you're a black girl superhero. But I don't. But the closest thing I do have was reading Justice League International and just being like, feeling so seen because finally they made superhero comics for funny people like me.
Who's your favorite JLI character?
It's Blue Beetle.
Well, I'm a little nerdy boy, so it's fairly obvious the answer for that would be the legendary Peter Parker. I was a big Spider-Man collector when I was a kid, so surprising no one, Peter was my guy, and I loved collecting that series all through kind of the mid 200s of Amazing Spider-Man, the Hobgoblin, and kind of all those sorts of classic era. Peter was my guy. He was the did the best he could and was always sort of the underdog struggling away, but managed to overcome. And that's when, there's a reason why he's an absolute icon. And I think it's fairly obvious. And every time I would read an issue of Amazing Spider-Man, I would get pumped and wish that people saw the hidden power deep within me.
I do remember the first time comics made me feel seen. Greg Pak wrote this Agents of Atlas comic, and I remember specifically there was a scene where a bunch of heroes who are all Asian, East Asian, Southeast Asian were talking about, they're having like this really important meeting after hitting a big low in their story. And the way that they came together was they were talking about food, and they made all kinds of food together. I was like, oh my God, I know what all those things are. And it was like, here's Spam, and here's how a bunch of different cultures use Spam. Here's like an Asian pear. Is it a Chinese pear? Is it a Korean pear? Is it an Asian pear? Like, what do you call that? All these different names for the same thing, and how food and like shared experience can bring us together. That was the first time I saw anybody write about that kind of thing, and I loved it.
Phonogram. That's yeah. I remember picking that up and reading like the first. I actually just found my issues, crazy enough, because I've been cataloging my collection, and I was like, oh yeah, I didn't realize that there were music and comics at all. Kieran and Jamie definitely killed that, and I love all their other stuff, but yeah.
Okay, so this is an answer of essentially a Gen Xer in that I really didn't feel seen in comics at all because I'm so old that the comics that I remember would have been like Peanuts. And I thought Marcy was Asian because she was literally the only character I could think of that looked like me with glasses and black hair. So for many years, I really did think or hope that Marcy was Asian. But other than that, there really weren't any characters that even looked remotely like me.
What was your first, I can't believe this is my job moment?
Well, I think it was probably the first time, like whenever I meet new people who are like doctors or software engineers, and I say like, I'm a cartoonist, seeing them go, what? That was an option? I'm like, yeah, that was a job option. But I think it was maybe the first time I went to the old DC Comics offices in Burbank, and they had like all the colors of the different lanterns from that. I forget what it's called. Anyway, like probably when I went back to like the old DC Comics offices back in Burbank, and there was a Batman suit, and I was like, this is really cool.
So the first time you get to write like a thwip or a snikt, a Wolverine or a Spider-Man sound effect, and it's not ironic, you're doing this as your legit job, it is one of the most amazing things you can do. It unlocks something childlike and wonderful inside of you. Sound effects are intrinsic to comics, and being able to use one of the ones that just the sound itself identifies the character is the greatest thing ever.
So my first, I can't believe this is my job moment. It was the first time people came to see me at a signing. I didn't think anyone was going to show up. I was writing a lot of comics in 2020. I was doing it all remote, so I had never actually seen them in a comic shop. And I didn't know if people were reading them. I would write them and they'd go off. My first signing, it was a free comic book day signing. I was there along with a lot of other creators, and then suddenly there were people showing up for me, and I was like, what? This is amazing. And they're all so sweet and welcoming. It was amazing. It was so great.
I've had a lot of those recently, especially because I'm doing a t-shirt design for an old cartoon that I loved a lot. Definitely either Godzilla or slash Mothra, obviously. It's one of my best friend's favorites as well. Probably Archie stuff. Like getting to draw Archie and Jughead and Betty and Veronica briefly. Those were all like some of my favorites growing up. I love DC stuff as well, but the Archie stuff was the accessible, grocery store digest. So I think getting to draw those, without having too much other pop culture influence, like either actors to look at or things like that. Obviously we have Riverdale and stuff, but it was just kind of fun to be like, oh, I get to go back and like read all the other stuff that everyone else has done and really just enjoy how campy and quirky and weird those characters are and how there's like no rules.
So the first, I can't believe my job. This was very early in my career. And I was asked to pitch in front of Daryl McDaniels from Run DMC and Riggs Morales, who is now the head of Def Jam Records. And I was pitching at Atlantic Records. And I said, this is not normal at all, by the way, right? And so it's literally kind of pitch to these guys, and people are going in and out. And I swear I'm supposed to know exactly who all these celebrity rappers are, but I had no idea. It's very distracting. They love my pitch. Here's the thing, Daryl is such a wonderful guy. He just loves rapping my name. So anytime he does that, I was like, I cannot believe this is my job, because obviously I grew up with him, and the fact that he's like so chill and just really enjoys just chatting and then breaking into some kind of rap, and I'm doing his comics. That was like, I can't believe this is my job.
What is your favorite sound effect that you've ever written or drawn?
Oh my gosh. In upcoming, I have a new book with DC Comics out in the summer, and there's a moment when it's called Orion. It's about Orion. And there's a moment when Orion is punching this wall of energy, and I just used the sound effect thum, thum, thum. THUM.
So sound effects are always, contextual. They're not just what they are, but they're where they're happening. So there's this character that I wrote in Thunderbolts in 2022. Her name is Persuasion, and she can take over your mind. So the team was fighting the Abomination, and she wanted to end the battle quickly. So she takes over the Abomination's mind, and she tells him to punch himself into the junk, and he hits himself over and over again. And that is the greatest Thum sound effect that I have ever written. THOOM.
Sound effects are both fun and extremely challenging. I have been trying to make Krakoom work for years at this point. I finally did it. In a black, white, and blood comic. It was a Thor story. And like I said, I've been trying to make Krakoom work for so long. Maybe the other one is like donk.
So that's really hard. Sound effects, I don't know that there is like a favorite, but I do have a soft spot for Krakoom, and if I can use it without looking too obvious, I just really enjoy that sound effect.
I did do a short, I think, with Jono Diener once, and we doubled down and homaged the Spider-Verse like donut bop. So I would say that one. That's one of my favorites, yeah.
Which of your characters feels the most like family to you now, and why?
They're not my characters, but they're Jack Kirby's characters. And I really would say Orion and Barda. I just spent so much time writing the Fourth World and being with the New Gods that they're my homies. I really am fond of those guys.
I got to write the Champions 2018, 2019, and that whole kind of team of teenagers, they just felt like, hanging out with friends and all the kinds of things that we, struggled with when we were teenagers. So the nervous energy and the excitement and the angst of being a teen, they were my kids. They're my buddies. It was a lot of fun.
Dr. Aphra. I love Dr. Aphra. I wrote her for 4 years, and her comic series was actually my first solo series, which is kind of wild. I'd co-written a couple of B stories with Greg Pak, who's an angel, by the way. I love Greg Pak. I had written, I think, 3 one-shot origin stories for White Fox, Luna Snow, Crescent and Io, and then my next job was Dr. Aphra, which is wild. I don't know, Star Wars now feels like home, and Aphra feels like home too. She is such a terrible person. I, like Marie Kondo, I love mess. So I love mess. And if I was going to pick one word to describe Dr. Aphra, it would be mess. She's messy. She's fun. She's funny. She is deeply insecure, and she's just fun. I love writing people who are not necessarily heroes. I think heroes are great. They're very aspirational. I don't think you can say that about Aphra, but in that sense, she feels real. I got to tell a lot of silly jokes, and then slide the gnarly knife of emotions straight into people's ribs when they weren't expecting it. And I love that. That's my favorite thing to do.
I would say probably Elise from Know Your Station, because I relate to her sweet baby. She tries so hard, but she's a messy, messy girl. But she tries really hard, and I heavily relate to that. We've got it together. I'm cute. I'm not always 100% put together. So
I think the character that feels most like family to me would be the main character of the Carmilla trilogy, and that would be Athena Lau. Because, okay, so right, I created her, to make a character that, for people to be seen, but also, actually, that might be the most, besides Red Sonja. I don't consider Red Sonja a part of the family. That she would be the weird member of the family. She shows up at Christmas with her chainmail bikini. I don't feel like she's really a member of the family. But Athena feels like she would be a person that, would be part of the family and that would show up for family celebrations.
If a character that you worked on could walk through Artist Alley at Emerald City Comic Con, what would they say?
Still on the fourth world beat, I think Light Ray would walk through the Artist Alley. He'd be like, wondrous, Orion, this is a marketplace of curios and art. Earth never ceases to amaze me. Like, he would just be genuinely surprised that human beings aren't idiots. It's like, wow, you guys can draw.
So Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty would be both amazed and horrified at the amount of things that people create and what they've monetized, and maybe what their sort of personal proclivities are.
I was thinking about this because I love Artist Alley. I love Emerald City Artist Alley specifically a lot. I think if I was going to pick a character, I'd pick Kofon Ferris, who's kind of a disaster person, but is very enthusiastic. Sorry, I won't say that. I would pick Kofon Ferris. They are incredibly enthusiastic. I think they would be dazzled by all of the art, all of the amazing creators. They'd be like peak fan, and they would have such a great time. And they would buy everything and then take it home and tell everybody about it.
It would probably be Allison from True Cult. She would probably say something along the lines, she'd probably just start spitting some lore about your own stuff at your table. And you're like, that's not what I expected out of you. And yet somehow I appreciate and can see this now, that you are saying it out loud to me. And I'm registering it. You should be working my booth, actually, instead.
Oh, I think that really depends on the character, right? So I think some of them would totally dig it. Some of them probably would be like, what is this? And some of them would be like, oh, cool, cosplay, right? So someone like Athena, I think would enjoy it. Daryl, I do a lot of shows with Daryl, and I think I write his character, and he loves Comic Cons, we do that all the time. So it really depends on who. I think Wonder Woman would be kind of like, oh, interesting.
What is the weirdest or most wonderful thing that you've ever signed?
Okay, signing hockey jerseys isn't weird, but because I write the hockey romance check plays, and I sign my own characters' jerseys using their signatures. So there's always this loading process where I'm like, what's this character's signature again? So you'll have a Jack Zimmerman jersey with Jack's signature on it.
Whose jersey do you get asked to sign the most?
It's usually Biddy's jersey, because that's the first jersey I ever made merchandise of. So people will show up in a Samuel hockey jersey.
It is not a body part, but because I've worked on both Samurai Jack and Conan the Barbarian, I've signed several swords, which was really cool. People will bring me the reproductions of the Atlantean blade from Conan the Barbarian, or a katana for Samurai Jack, and I have signed multiple swords over the years. And if you would have told me as a child, someday your autograph will be brandished upon blades, I would not have believed you.
My favorite thing that I've ever signed is a copy of Alligator Loki, but it belonged to a small child, and it was in terrible shape. It was rumpled and crunched. And I could tell that the kid who had it loved it and read it all the time. And that was honestly my very favorite thing to sign. It was so special because it was theirs. And their parent told me that they read Alligator Loki to their kid every night. So many parents have told me that Alligator Loki is their way of bonding with their very young children. Getting to see this crumpled up version of Alligator Loki actually meant way more to me than signing like a super pristine comic, because I could tell that it was read and that it was loved.
Oh, I've never gotten a body part. I've always wanted one. Dang. Goals. I think I tweeted a long time ago that I would sign anything Chip had signed. So I definitely have signed a couple of those, even though I didn't work on them. I think lots of Star Trek stuff recently, especially like with the actors and just kind of being like, wow, I've stared at you for tons of hours on a screen before, and I'm just casually signing with you or next to you, even though I was only staring at you to draw you, I swear. Yeah, respectfully.
Oh, no, no, no. Well, no, it was a body part of Silver Surfer. There's a huge Silver Surfer statue in a comic book store in Fairbanks. And I'm sorry, guys, I forgot the name of the store, but I think there was only one in Fairbanks, Alaska. And I was there, and they're like, will you sign our Silver Surfer? And I'm not the first one to do it, but I was like, of course, I would be honored to sign this gigantic Silver Surfer. And so they told me to sign a body part, but I want to say it was probably just like, not, maybe it was his butt, actually. I can't remember. We're going to have to go check it out. You got to go to Fairbanks, Alaska to see where I signed. That's the answer.
What can comics do that no other art form can?
Comics are a wonderful synthesis of prose and imagery, and they can both get inside the head of a character like prose, but they can have that visual bombast of film and animation. It's pure artistry and movement, but it's also got, lyricism and then the contrast between the two. I think that's what's amazing. It takes from a bunch of other mediums and then makes it its own.
I think comics have so much heart. I've worked in a bunch of different industries. Comics are so collaborative. You get to work with a bunch of people who are at the top of their game, who are really passionate about everything they're doing. You get to talk to people and encourage each other and inspire each other. When I'm writing a comic, I always think of my script as like a love letter to my team. I also love to ask artists like, hey, what do you love to draw? Like, what's your favorite thing? And I'll try to build that into scripts. So each script is also tailored to my team, which is very fun. In terms, like on the creator side, it's very special for that reason, because a comic is like for all of us, by all of us.
Ooh, invoke your own turning process of creativity in your mind, because you can do that while reading fiction and prose. But I think like you are world building while you see the artist representation in each panel, and also kind of formulating this like 3D version and immersing yourself in what I consider like a film or a movie or like the experience.
All right. So this one, I think comics is probably, to me and maybe to many others, the most personal art form. Everything else, I think, is controlled by someone else or controls you possibly, whereas comics, to me, I think it is the most personal art form there is, that you can control. You can make it, you can control it. You don't have to have a budget. It is something that you can control, and it's you with the story that either makes you feel really great or really bad.
Which of your characters or any characters that you've worked on would absolutely bomb a panel Q&A?
Well, my first answer was like Darkseid would literally bomb a Q&A panel and kill everyone. He'd be a little bit like, if I ever wrote the Joker, that would be the guy. But actually, like, not do a great job. There's a character from Czech Plays named Shitty, aka Mr. Crappy, and he would probably have a lot of really great answers. He goes to Harvard Law, he's going to be a lawyer one day, but they'd be filled with so many expletives. I think that, I don't know, reedpop, Emerald City, they would have to get someone to take him off the stage.
Conan the Barbarian doesn't have time for your questions and answers. He would cut right to the heart of the matter, and he would cut right through the heart of whatever beast or demon is foolish enough to cross his path.
So many of them. So many of them. I think Afra would do really well until she didn't. I think Kofan Ferris would actually do terribly until they didn't. Those are my top two picks. I'm like, here are my Star Wars disaster babies who I love.
The easy answer is Marty, 100%. But I do think Bridget, the AI on Know Your Station, also might purposefully try to bomb it or sabotage the shit out of it.
Oh, No question, Poison Ivy would be terrible on a panel. I would never invite her. She could be amazing in different ways, but I don't want to be the person in charge of liability insurance for that convention.
What is your go-to snack or playlist when deadlines are closing in?
I can't say snack because I don't want anyone to know how much of a goblin I am. It's so like imagine me sitting here. This is where I make my comics, and there's just like a weird tub of like little carbohydrates that I just and I go through a lot of gum. Anyway, but playlist is I watch so many like YouTube series that just like I just put it in the background, but I also will put on show tunes. And I think show tunes will get me through a good drawing sprint. So a good portion, I'm coloring Orion right now, I'm finishing up this book. A good portion of Orion was just like me listening to Chicago, Razzle Dazzle. It's the Catherine Zeta-Jones one, which is the one I'm most familiar with, and I feel so bad because I usually don't like movie musical sound recordings. I'm a bit of a snob for that, but
When the stress is, beating down my door for a deadline, I usually kind of oscillate between the sweet and the savory. So or salty, so like corn nuts 1 minute and then like Reese's Pieces or M&Ms probably the next.
I eat these ghost pepper peanuts. They're so good. Yeah, they're so spicy. And when I'm stressed out, I just eat them nonstop. They're also like local, which is fun. I also, when I'm really like, I need to lock in and I can't do it, I will pick one song that I know really well, and then I'll just loop it over and over and over and over for like hours. Sometimes I forget to put music on and I'll just have my headphones on that like noise canceling and just go. The song that I've used most recently, I think, is Polyphia's Playing God.
Snack is playlist is the Challengers soundtrack by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Yeah, I really love.
I don't really. First of all, I would when deadlines are closing and I'm not listening to anything because I'm a writer. I think artists may do that. Snacks, I will eat anything in sight. Really, actually, when deadlines come in, the greatest procrastination is to go around and try to find any snack I can. I do have a soft spot for anything crunchy like chips.
When you think of Emerald City Comic Con, what feeling comes to mind?
Din Tai Fung, literally me and my collaborator, co-author, Madeline Rupert, we will decide like, okay, we're doing Emerald City this year. How many times can we go to Din Tai Fung? And that's where we have so many memories. That's where we talk about the convention. We talk about comics. We talk about everything. Because Emerald City can be really loud and busy. So it's just, yeah. I think maybe the feeling is catching up. Just like catching up with readers, but catching up with all the other creatives who make the journey from New York, Austin, LA to talk about comics.
Emerald City Comic Con is genuinely one of my favorite comic book shows that I go to every single year. And usually it's the first one that I go to. So it's like coming out of hibernation from the winter holidays and realizing, no, I actually do want to see people again. I really want to see my friends in the industry. And I want to celebrate this stuff that we're doing together. I've had the great fortune of being able to launch books multiple years at Emerald City Comic Con. So the first volume of Skull Kickers, my sword and sorcery comedy series, and also Wayward, which is about teenagers fighting supernatural monsters in Japan. Both of those premiered at Emerald City Comic Con the years that they were coming out. And the momentum that built at the show and the excitement in and around those book launches just carried me through the rest of the summer.
So I've never been to Emerald City Comic Con as yeah. Yeah, this is going to be my first time at Emerald City as a creator.
Oh, so actually, Emerald City is one of my favorite cons because I know, first of all, it's awesome and it's much more spacious. But I don't want to say it's serenity exactly because it's a very busy convention. But I also think about that Pike Place clam chowder that I can get afterwards.
What does it mean to see fans still showing up for comics after all these years?
Comics are never going to go away. It's the starting point of fandom. It's people's like how they hook into fandom. It's where so many of us can relate. It's just, it's kind of hard to explain what comics mean to me and others.
It is mind-blowing to have people come to meet me in person and want to excitedly tell me about how much they enjoy reading my stories. I still feel like a fan after all these years. And so I want to see people and I want to tell them how much their work means to me. And so having that kind of reflected back is, it's still mind-boggling. It's still a great honor and a joy.
It's amazing. It's amazing. There's really nothing like it. I think the passion of the fans who come out over and over and over and over again, it's very inspiring to me. People who I've seen for years who come back for like almost every show or signing, and it's gotten to the point where I'm like, hey, you're back. And seeing like new fans come up and say, I read your comic, it meant everything to me. That is never going to stop being so special. I feel very happy getting to give that back to people.
Pure joy and excitement to see people that totally love Artist Alley. Like, that is the one show that both loves not only the show floor and like seeing all the celebrities and things like that, but I have never been to a show that everybody that goes to that con, they're like, oh no, that is 100% on my list. And I've met so many people that I've like, found out that I like similar video games. And like, it's actually been the one show that I think I know the most people at, even though I don't know them very well. It'll be super exciting to like see them again, just loyal, dedicated people that support art and artists.
Oh, it's validation, right? It's kind of like people who are like, oh, radio is dead because now there's TV, and TV's dead, now there's internet. And you know what I mean? Comics will be around forever. Whether you think of it as comics or manga or webtoons or whatever, those are all comics. So I feel very appreciative, but I also think it's because of that intimacy between us and the story that's told in art and words.
What is one thing that you hope every fan takes away from Emerald City this year?
Truly just a wonderful, weird, but harmless story about something they saw. Just, I can't even repeat like some of the stories that you see at like some of the things that you see at like anime conventions or conventions like New York Comic Con, Emerald City. You don't want to be traumatized, but you want to have a good laugh. You want to have something you can tell people.
I think it's super important to celebrate the things that you love, but I think it's even more important to seek out new things that you've never had before. Meet new authors, meet new artists and creators. Find something that just jumps out at you, in Artist Alley, and pick it up, and it may be your new favorite.
I hope everyone has fun.
It's kind of cool. I've seen a lot of old timers in the past year and a half at conventions, and one of the things that I can really appreciate is the love and adoration for physical copies and floppies for direct market comics. It's been an industry and that we always thought was sort of dying off, and yet we still see people really dedicated to that like part of the craft, which is part of the delivery, which is really interesting to me.
Oh, hopefully they're taking comics, right? That's what we're
And then lastly, finish this sentence. Comics will always matter because
they're great, they're amazing. Wham, bam, pow.
Comics will always matter because stories and art are like a deep part of who we are and how we share what we love.
Because we matter.
It'll never go away. We're here forever.
Oh, shoot. Comics will always matter because it will always be there for you. When everyone else lets you down, comics will be there for you.